This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us on WZRD Marcus Lewis, who is running for congressman in the 1st Congressional District. Welcome, Marcus.
Good morning.
Morning. Well, first of all, Marcus, tell us about your district and why you are running.
Well, the district is from 15th and Wabash all the way on the south side near downtown, and it goes southwest through Will County and then through Kankakee County down to Bourbonnais.
How many constituents do you have approximately? Do you know?
About 715,000.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so it's okay. So the northern boundaries are again what?
15th and Wabash.
Okay.
To through Cook County, through Will County, and then southwest to Bourbonnais, Kankakee. So it's three counties incorporates the 1st Congressional District.
What are the names of the neighborhoods that are in Chicago?
Well, in the 1st Congressional District, you have Bronzeville, then you have Auburn Gresham, then you have Avalon, then you have Chatham. Those are some of the neighborhoods. Peel Hill, such as like, that's mainly what's going on in Chicago. But when you get out to the other counties, you have Frankfort, you have parts of Homer Glen, New Lenox, then of course, as I said, Bourbonnais in Kankakee.
Are the most densely populated areas within Chicago?
Yes, it's the weighted vote is in Chicago. So if you win for Chicago, you win the district. You win the congressional seat.
Got it. How often have you spoken with your constituents? Do you have regular meetings with like weekly meetings or something like that with your constituents?
I'm out daily campaigning, and I'm running into my constituents. I pull them over as I speak to them. So it's not like we're having structured meetings. No. At this juncture, the election is so well known, not just mine, but for the national election itself. So it's basically, as I see you, I will pull you over. I will put a card such as this in their hands and let them know they can call me if they have any questions about the election, about what we want to do with the 1st Congressional District moving forward, because we want a new congressperson, such as myself, because we don't want the machine to continue to run this seat, because the people are not getting anything out of it.
The special interests are running the machine?
Yes, the Democratic machine is what I'm speaking about. And so they have run this seat. In fact, there hasn't been a Republican in the 1st Congressional District seat since 1935. That's 89 years. And so upon my becoming congressman-elect on November 5th, it will be 89 years. And upon me taking the oath on January 3rd, 2025, it will be 90. So this would be truly a revolutionary and a transitionary time for the 1st Congressional District truly to move forward.
How many petition signatures did you have to get on the ballot?
I had to have 370, and I gave 400. They were absolutely rock solid, and that's what the Illinois State Board of Elections required. And so, because it's not a Republican-controlled seat, my number is far less than the Democrat. They had to have 800 and some. Mm-hmm.
When you submitted your petition signatures, did anybody challenge you?
No. They knew. First of all, this is my 8th consecutive run for Congress, and so I'm very well of the game that goes on. That ballot access in Illinois is absolutely crucial, because it's difficult to stay on the ballot once you file. And so your signatures can't be what they call round tabled, meaning people sitting at a table with a telephone book or constituent addresses, and everybody takes a turn signing names. No, that's fraudulent. We're not going to do that. I and my aide went out personally, and we had an app that told us their address and that they were rock solid, active voters in the district. And so we didn't have anybody else's name. I didn't allow anybody's name or anyone to sign that was not in the district.
What kind of app is that? That's interesting.
Yes, I cannot tell you that.
Okay.
That's something that is proprietary, and I was very fortunate to come across it, and it was very revolutionary because it really helped me to exclude anyone that was not in the district. And I had to turn down several people, and they wanted to sign. Oh, they wanted to sign, and I said, "I'm sorry, your address is that's where you're registered is not in the district."
Did you do you know if your campaign challenged anybody else's signatures?
Yes, we did challenge another person that had filed. They had filed, my opponent in the March primary had filed a petition that used the statement of candidacy for nonpartisan. That person had run in the mayoral race the year before, and they thought, I guess unsuspectingly or ignorantly, that they can use just any old statement of candidacy to get on the ballot. But this is a partisan election, meaning that you have to declare a party of which you're running under. And the statement of candidacy that they had filed with their petitions did not notify that the party of which they were under. But it went all the way to court, and we got it far the appellate court. And of course, they're very liberal here. And even though the law, we believe, was in our favor, the judge didn't see it that way and allowed there to be a contested primary. So the person got on the ballot, but nevertheless, God is good. I was able to prevail 80% to 20% over my opponent. And so
your opponent was running as a Republican, even though he, in the statement of candidacy, he ran as a nonpartisan, is what you're saying?
Yes, it was a woman. It was a woman that I was my opponent, and they just filed the wrong paperwork, but it didn't matter. The judge, the State Board of Election board allowed them to stay. We took it to court, and the circuit court and the appellate court said they could stay on the ballot, even though the mistake was made and they filed the wrong paperwork. In other states, that would have been a death for their candidacy, but Illinois is quite liberal when it comes to elections, very liberal on these type of issues.
What other offices have you held in the past?
I have not. I've never held elective office, which to me is a plus because I don't come polluted with the mindset of how things run. I really just want to be a servant and not a celebrity in the 1st Congressional District seat.
What in your background then convinced you to use your skills to run for this office?
Well, this is, like I said, this is my 8th consecutive run for Congress, and I started in 2012. I just took a heartfelt belief that there was an issue of discrimination over at Rush Medical College, where 8 Black and brown students had discovered a cheating scheme for white students. And because of that, they had changed their grade from pass to fail and given the white students the majority of makeup exams far beyond the policy. So you can only get 2 per quarter, and they had failed every course. And so they were given unlimited makeups. So they failed the makeup, they give them second makeup. they were in a no-lose situation where the blacks, they had their grades changed. They were held to the strict standard of only 2 makeups per quarter, and they were eventually dismissed from the school, barred from going to any medical school in the country. That inflamed me because I had some people that were attending the school that were close to me, and we did everything we could to get that turned around. The the Supreme Court at that time ruled against civil rights legislation of Title VII of the '64 Civil Rights Act, and it took a bill to overturn that. So we had gone to a congressperson, various congresspeople, but the one in the 2nd Congressional District, Jesse Jackson Jr., we approached him. He saw it. He saw the proof that we had because we had their transcripts. And he said he wanted to file a bill making the 1991 Civil Rights Act retroactive. So these people can get coverage. And 4 days later, after putting it on the fast track, his chief of staff, which now works for Robin Kelly, his name is Rick Bryant, stated to me that the congressman is not going to file that bill. And I said, excuse me? He said, I'll let you talk to him. So he put Congressman Jackson at the time on the phone, and he said, Reverend, because I'm an ordained minister, my staff has informed me that if I file that bill, use the exact quote, if I file that bill, it'll help too many people. I said, excuse me? He said, well, maybe there might be something else we can do. I said, there's nothing else we can do. The Supreme Court said that we have to go back to Congress and get ourselves written into the law. After being inflamed, enraged, but not just being mad to action. So I said, I'm going to run for Congress. I'm going to run and take this man's seat. And so I was in the 2012 election as an independent. Didn't even know anything about Congress. Didn't even know anything about running. But you learn pretty quick when you're determined. And I got 40,006 votes, which to me, I believe I would have won. But 40,006 votes, and then I've been running ever since. I've run in 2013 in special election, 2014, 2016, 18, 20, 22, and now I have won my Republican primary in March, 80% to 20%. And I just felt that, to get back to your question, a person, all they have to do is just have some fortitude to do the right thing. It's needed because congressional seat is where the people are. They represent the masses of the people. Not like the senators don't, but they are what they call the lower house of Congress. And they're closer to the people. And so because the seat is up, it's only 730 days, 2 years. And so you really have to be close to the people so they can have their voices heard. If not, in 2 years, they can have a referendum on you and either unelect you or keep you for another 2 years. So it's a very good situation in our Constitution. I just saw wrong and wanted to right it. And this is my 8th consecutive run. So I'm here in an attempt, I'm going against his brother, Jonathan Jackson, and which to me, he is a lightweight. He only has the name of his father. And so the name in itself does not do any justice for us because he's been allowing, if I may say, tens of thousands of illegal aliens to flood our district and reap our resources, monies, housing, employment, education, food, Social Security, SNAP. They've just run the gauntlet. It's unfair.
Do you have any documentation of those resources being given to the migrants instead of to the African Americans and the Latinos?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you have seen it nationally if you've been paying attention to national news and local news, where Mayor Brandon Johnson has spent $480 million, $500 million literally, on these illegals. And he said that he's committed to them. And
I understand that, but that the money that they allocated to the migrants, were those funds also available to the African Americans and the Latinos? Like, where were the funds coming from, and what were the purposes of those funds before they chose how to spend the funds?
But I'm glad you said that. Yes, they're coming out the taxpayers' coffers. This money is being borrowed, and this money's through sanctuary cities and sanctuary states status. The illegal aliens, they're not migrants, they're illegals. They don't have papers. They've just been allowed to come in through the Biden-Harris administration for voting purposes and to destabilize and change our way of living and to change our country for the negative, in my humble opinion.
Well,
Now,
the term for them is also migrants, as well as the term that you
no,
use.
that's what they give you. I would tell you point blank, we're gonna stop this nonsense. You may say whatever you like, because that's the term they've been given. It's almost like they don't want to call them illegal aliens. They want to call them undocumented persons. That's ridiculous. Undocumented, it's like driving a car and then you have no license. You're undocumented, but you're driving a car.
We heard a lot about undocumented aliens being given the right to vote. Could you describe
that's illegal. That's
what the process
unconstitutional.
is? How they're able to do that?
They have various states have laws that undocumented illegal aliens cannot vote in federal elections. I know they have allowed it in New York in municipal elections, and that's what they're doing across the country. But the Biden-Harris administration is registering illegal aliens to vote in this federal election today.
Do you have that is interesting. Do you have documentation of that?
Yes.
That's being done?
Yes, because
we need that documentation to to verify what you
yes. In fact, it was just spoken of. If you're watching Fox, CNN, or Newsmax, and it's in your daily papers, or you can look it up online to where the DOJ.
We do need the actual documentation instead of the sources for these reports.
What I'm gonna tell you, the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, right now is suing 2 states, Alabama and Virginia, for doing what the state law gives them the right, and that is to purge the voter rolls of those that are illegal, that should not be on the voter rolls. And the Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit last week of which they want to keep these illegal voters on the rolls. They want to keep them on.
Well, later, after the interview, if you can, just send me the case, the name of the case, so that we could include it in the description of the interview. The case name, who versus whom, in what state, in what court, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, getting back to your retroactivity for the 1991 Civil Rights Act. When you ran again and again, even though you were running, did you try approaching additional Congress people to help you forward this bill, or did you just rather run? Did you talk with anybody else?
Oh, absolutely. I had spoken to the Senator Edward Kennedy's office consistently during this time period, because we're talking about back to 1991. That's how long this odyssey has been, because these Black and brown students have lost their opportunity and their careers permanently from going to any American medical school, because the rule is that you must be returned in good standing to your home medical school. So it's not like, oh, I didn't do well at Rush, so I'm just going to go to Meharry, or I'm going to go to Princeton, I'm going to go to Johns Hopkins. No, don't work that way. You must be readmitted in good standing, and that's what Rush Medical College wouldn't do. And so these people are barred. You hear me? Barred permanently. 2 of them are homeless. They were absolutely exemplary students. They passed their courses with honors. So we had gone to Craig Washington down in Houston. He was a congressman at that time. We've gone to several Congress people over the years. We went to Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin's office was so hateful because I got there through my pastor and wrote a letter on my behalf about this situation. And the gentleman's name was, his last name was Daley. That was his chief of staff here in Chicago.
Daley? Daley was his last name?
Daley.
Dale.
Daley.
Daley. Okay.
Daley. D-A-L-E-Y. And he told me, he said, you know, you wouldn't have gotten this far had it not been for your pastor's letter. So Dick Durbin said he looked at it. They wrote me back saying, well, there's nothing we can do. At the time, the Republicans at that time held the majority in the House and in the Senate. And they said, so if we filed a bill, it wouldn't go anywhere. And I said, that doesn't matter. It would make news. But then Michael Daley, that was his name. And he then told me, don't you call back here with this issue. I said, excuse me? He said, don't contact this office about this issue. So the hatefulness.
Did he say why? Did he say why? Did you ask why?
Well, yes, I did. And it was obvious because, you know, Chicago and Illinois have a notorious racial discriminatory history. And so it was easy to denote why, because the issue was obviously a racial issue where Blacks had been discriminated and whites had been given an unfair advantage, which they did not deserve. They're practicing. They've had their careers. These people are old men now. They're in their 60s. So their whole entire career has been stopped. And so they need literally reparation. They need repair for the wrongdoing that Rush Medical College has done. And we have the transcripts. I'm not just making allegations. We have the white students' transcript where they were getting unlimited makeups. That's what has caused me to run like I have. Because if I didn't, who would? And so I'm of the mindset that it doesn't, wrong seems to be able to do things quickly. Right seems to take a long time. But just like anything that's baking, it's good at the end. It's just that you have to endure to the end. And so if the Congress people aren't going to do it or aren't going to do right.
What about the Republicans? Have you approached any Republican congressmen?
I have. I did. I did make it bipartisan, and they were very conciliatory. But what we lacked was action on both sides. When I first ran, I ran as an independent that was going to caucus with the Democrats the first 2 times, in 12 and 13. In 14, I ran as a Democrat. And I ran as a Democrat 5 consecutive election cycles. I then, because of the Democrats, in my humble opinion, perverse agenda with this transsexual nonsense, this homosexual nonsense, and the perversion of our children.
Well, they also claim to want to advance African American rights, Black Lives Matter, and all that. But evidently, they're not doing it. And then for the Republicans that you approached, they were conciliatory, but did they didn't want to do it? Did you have any petitions? Did you have any backing showing that a lot of people supported what you wanted done? Because since you had those transcripts, you have the families of those individuals that were not admitted, that were kicked out of the medical college.
Yes.
Then you also have community members, since you're a pastor, maybe your congregation too. Did you have signatures that you could show to the Congress people that you have a backing from a white experience of your constituents.
Yes, we marched on Rush for a year, starting in 2007. We marched on them for a year every Tuesday. And our first march was May 1st, 2007. We called it the May Day March on Rush. And the news media was contacted, but they didn't show because the Latinos with their May Day celebration, so they chose to go with that rather than come over to Rush. And we had just about over 100 people show up for the march. Now, the issue of it is to get people excited to do something about this is you'll find out it's a lonely road, because at the time, no one wanted to be excited to help Black people in this situation. They just didn't want to promote Black people in a shining light more so than what is customary. If you ever notice, if you look at the news media for the most part, when they interview Black people, they interview Black people with no teeth. You can tell they have little or none, no education. And that's the type of image Black people have been given. And so ours, as you see, I'm well-dressed, speak very well. I thank the Lord and my mother through the education she bestowed upon me. Gone through university, DePaul, and such like and the like. They don't want to interview someone like me because I don't fit their narrative that they continue to push.
In other words, you're saying that the mainstream media wants to preserve segregation and racial discrimination.
Yes, and not only racial discrimination, but the image. They want you with these long hair, or they call them doo-doo braids, or these braids or whatnot, and
dreads,
pants hanging down, and such of the like. That fits the image of Black men that they want to promote.
In other words, you said that in 2007, you protested Rush every Tuesday.
Yes.
And you invited, it was not even on May Day then. There were many Tuesdays that were not May Day.
Correct.
So invited the media, the mainstream media. No one showed up even on the other Tuesdays when there was less, there was more available news days.
No. They told me Marcus Lewis gets no press. They told me point blank. I had gone to CBS, Vince Giroselli. I've talked to the producers over at CBS, ABC, Channel 5, WMAQ, Channel 9, Phil Lindsay he used to be on CLTV. He's now on Channel 9. Been to Channel 11, Channel 32. I've been to them all.
What about WVON and the Crusader and the Defender?
Let me tell you, the Defender wrote articles about one particular student that was involved in this, not Anita Blanchard, I forgot her name. She was a famous Black journalist. She's no longer there. But outside of that, WVON, Cliff Kelly, had started it because we had to march on him too. When I was running, they didn't want me to interview me at all.
Why?
Not at all. Say why? They said Marcus Lewis gets no press. Look, let me tell you something about this. The political gamesmanship in Chicago is absolutely horrendous. They don't want anybody. It's remember there was a book that was written about the father Daley, Richard J. Daley, rather.
Yes.
And there was a book entitled "We Don't Want Nobody, Nobody Sent." We don't want nobody sent. So if you're going to see an alderman, and the alderman said, "Who sent you?" And we said, "Well," then they said, "Oh, nobody. We don't want to talk to you because we don't know who you are, and we don't invite or give or promote anyone that's a nobody. You got to come correct. You better say such and such sent you. Then you'll be admitted. You'll get press. You'll get this and that." No, It don't work like that here in Chicago.
And you were not able to find a sponsor among all of these political people that you
No,
approached?
no, not at all.
Even the Republicans would not help you because
No one. You're talking about Chicago politics. They don't do that because they know that it's like they say, they know how their bread is buttered. You ever hear that phrase? They are not going to step out unless it's been given permission, or they've been given permission to take an issue on that will absolutely embarrass Rush Medical College or a political person. Now Jesse Jackson Jr. was taking money from Larry J. Goodman, who was the assistant dean at the time of this discriminatory behavior, who rose up through the ranks and became the CEO and president of Rush University Medical Center. And when we went to Jesse, we found out through FEC filings that Larry J. Goodman gives him campaign donations. That wasn't much. It was gave him $1,000, $500 and $500. But that $500 is nothing. It's the money under the table. It's the deals that are cut. It's the access to these congresspeople that are corrupt that will keep them in place to say what he said, that my staff informed me that this bill will help too many people. That's outrageous. Because
did they say why they can't help more people? What is wrong with helping too many people? Did they explain to you?
Well, let me tell you, I understood you got to read between the lines when you got to remember the place of which you are asking help to be done. They don't do that type of stuff unless you are a somebody that has been given permission to get that help. And if the permission or the word has not come down from the suites, no help is going to be given to you. And that's why you're left fending for yourself. Now,
what endorsements have you had? Because when you tell the people about this, let's say about this 1991 Civil Rights Act and activity, when you tell people about this and they see your cause, do you have people endorsing you?
I have the Illinois Family Action Committee that has endorsed me in this race. Now you got to remember, I have told you about the issue that started or triggered me to run. Since then, okay, I'm going to take care of that issue. We're going to file that bill. But there are other people down the line over the years that need help and assistance. And when they saw the type of person that I wasn't connected to this corrupt political nonsense that goes on in the state of Illinois and Chicago in particular, I told them, just get on my coattail. We're going to go to Washington. We're going to get some things solved. We're going to get your issues attended to. And that brings forth the loyalty that gives me the incentive to continue. Because there are people here, there are a lot of people who need help. And that's why it's insulting to give millions of dollars. Now, Black people in the South Side of Chicago have been destitute for decades. And all of a sudden, nearly $500 million is being orchestrated for people that are not even American citizens.
How can you stop this perpetuating poverty in the Black community? How if you were elected, how can you stop this perpetuation of poverty in the Black community and the Latino community?
The main thing of it is getting me elected, because see, I'm not bought and paid for. All I want is my salary. See, where you get in trouble is when you start making deals, you start taking illegal money, because see, I don't take donations for my candidacy. I want you to know that. So nobody's bought me. I don't owe no one anything. I'm going to be a person of service. And so when you're honest, unbridled, unbought, they know I'm trouble for the establishment. But the people like Donald Trump, he said, I don't need your money. I have my own. He's running because if he does not win the presidency, this country is doomed to become communist. They will continue the open door for all these illegals coming in. And don't get me wrong, I understand people want a better way of life, but there's a way. The Bible says God does everything what? Decently and in order. And this is order.
How are you able to have a team to help you in your campaign since you don't take donations and you probably don't have very much funding since no one the big donors are not giving? How are you able to
I didn't ask them.
maintain
And they weren't going to give no way. Let me tell you something. The big donors weren't going to give to me no way because I'm not going to play that game. So you got to understand, I'm in it for the right reasons. My name is on the ballot. When you go, early voting starts today. In fact, it starts in the next 17 minutes. And I'm guaranteeing you, they're not going to say, oh, Marcus Lewis, you don't have no money, so I'm not voting for him. Just because we don't have no money, nowhere in the Constitution says you have to have money to run for office. The FEC says you have to file a disclosure when you're $5,000 and over. But you ain't got to file if you don't raise the money. Does it say I can't be on the ballot? No. When they go in there, they're going to pull the lever. Timing in life is everything. Timing. And with Donald Trump has excited. See, usually every election cycle, what did the media get away with? Oh, it's going to be a low voter turnout. It's going to be low voter. And then it doesn't take much to discourage, disenfranchise people that may have thought about, well, it's a low voter turnout. They don't really give you an issue to go to the polls. Now everybody understands they've been had. They've been took. They've been hoodwinked. They know that the Biden administration is absolutely corrupt. And Kamala Harris is totally unapologetically unqualified to be president. She doesn't know nothing. She's been there 3.5 years. She is what they call a harlot that has risen through the ranks. And I don't say that without to demean somebody's character.
Well, I think that what will really help you in your campaign is discussing what you are going to do. Discussing the national politics is not as important as discussing your background and how you have helped the community and how what your plan is to try to stop this perpetuation of poverty in your community.
The main thing of it is, as I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to take the money. I'm not going to prison.
Do you have the a committee filing with the Illinois Department of Elections?
It was not necessary. For federal elections, it's not necessary.
I see.
Not necessary. Mm-hmm. And so I have checked all the boxes. I've been doing this too long. And all my paper is straight. The people will know that when Marcus Lewis becomes congressman-elect, they don't have to worry about me being corrupted. They always say everybody has their price. But I'm here to tell you, they're going to be very discouraged when they come out and find he can't be bought.
Do you have do you have a mentor who taught you the ropes of running an election?
Well, I looked at Harold Washington. And Harold Washington, in fact, I told my mother in 1983 when he became, because I worked on his campaign, 83 and 87. And just going on knocking on doors, handing out literature. And I thought him to be an excellent man. Excellent example. And I told my mother, I'd like to run before I could get the breast out. She said, I'll get out there and get your signatures and I'll do whatever I can. because that's an excellent position for you. And because you know I'd like to talk. And she said you should have been a lawyer. But I just like helping people. But there is a cost in helping people. Running for Congress, I want to let you know, cost me my position of 16 years, 7 months at the United States Postal Service, because I did not know that there's a prohibition of federal employees running for Congress. I did not know that. It's called the Hatch Act. And they let me run because I had the news media, CNN, MSNBC, Tribune, ABC, NBC, CBS. They were all at my door during the 2012 run because Jesse Jackson Jr. was hiding out in Mayo Clinic, telling about he was bipolar. And I got tired of the Jesse questions. I was telling what I wanted to do with the district. That's fine, but they didn't care. They just wanted to ask, well, Jesse, he's now in DuPont Circle. What do you think about that, Mr. Lewis? Oh, well, he's now in Rochester, Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. What do you think about that, Mr. Lewis? You know, this nonsense. And so I look at Harold Washington as an excellent example. And he didn't take no mess off the city council, if you remember, the 29 versus the 21. And so he did get a lot done, even though he was in a minority as far as the people that were supporting him in the aldermen. But once he won in 87, he won the majority in city council. So he was unstoppable. And that's when, obviously, his demise came. And so this seat, in the hands of a common man, I'm just an ordinary man doing an extraordinary thing. The timing couldn't be better. And so with people going to the polls in droves, and people are going red because blue offers you nothing, we want to remove every Democrat that we can find on that ballot.
Well, you already asked the Reds to help you, and still they wouldn't help you too. So maybe
no, that was back then. That was back then on that issue.
Right.
Now it's different because everybody's suffering under Democrat rule. Everybody.
So what are the Republicans saying about your plan for reparations for these individuals, these students under the 1991?
I haven't presented it to them currently. That is an issue, as you had asked, what got me into this.
Got it.
Now, that's an issue that's despicable that these people, like I said, 2 are homeless. Their careers are forever taken away. But I'm going to file that bill nevertheless. But there's so many other things that currently people are in dire need of. The gas prices are outrageous. We have this influx and flooding our district with these people we don't know. They're receiving Social Security. They're receiving SNAP. I have a receipt that I showed Bill Morton. He saw on my Facebook, an illegal had a balance.
Sorry, Marcus, but please don't mention his name on the air.
Yeah, the other, the other interviewer had seen a receipt by an illegal at a store here in Chicago. The number is there. Everything's been verified. Had a SNAP balance of over $11,500. $11,500 on a SNAP card. That's documented. And this is what I'm trying to say. Why are they receiving?
If you could do me a favor, if you have a photo of that receipt, could you also send it to us?
I do, and I'll be glad to send it to you. I'm just trying to show you the shenanigans, the outright betrayal. And Black people, brown people, white people, they're in great need. Why are you giving these undocumented, illegal aliens all this largesse? They're getting Social Security. One, if you remember in New York, he came out with his middle finger, both of them on both hands. He's getting $2,500 in Social Security a month. We just had this.
Well, we need the documentation for that.
I've got that. Don't worry. Everything I'm telling you, I have it. And then we had North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Alabama, and Tennessee got hit with these horrendous storms and Kamala Harris offers them $750 one time.
So what you are saying is that these undocumented aliens are being brought in and they're having them register to vote without them being challenged on the voter rolls so that they could vote. Is that what you're saying, that they're using undocumented aliens?
That's not only what I'm saying, that's exactly what's going on. What you must understand, that if you are in the Democratic Party, you must not be woke, you must wake the heck up. Because they are emptying out our coffers to those that are coming in here that they let in here. President Trump had the borders closed.
But what are they trying to get in return? The Democrats, when they empty their coffers, all they want in return are the votes?
Yes, so they can stay in power in perpetuity. They don't have no agenda. The only agenda they're talking about is abortion. And abortion is killing off your future generations. And so they're talking about, well, we need these people to influx, to do the work. The issue of it is they don't like life. They want death. Abortion is not reproductive health. It's about killing off your future generations. And so you're going to be, if you live, you're going to be surrounded by nobody. No grandchildren, no one to be an heir. This is ridiculous. And so the Democrats have no plan. They're not for the working class. That's the illusion you think you're under, that they're for the working people. No, they're not. They want
let's keep back on track about what you want to do, what you want to do for the people. That helps you the most.
Let me tell you something. When I get in, when we are announced that we have won, we want to start to assemble our team, because we're going to have 60 days. And we want to have town halls immediately to get the people involved in the 1st Congressional District. We're going to have a town hall in every county before January 3rd. And I want to get a bird's eye view. I want the constituents to tell me exactly the burdens, needs that they need addressed immediately, because you're only there 730 days. So we want to hit the ground running. You see? And we want the people involved. None of this, they elect me, I go to Washington, see you later, I'll see you in 2 years. No. Then we'll be having a town hall monthly. Now, I took that from a gentleman who used to be congressman of the 2nd Congressional District, Gus Savage. I used to go to his town halls monthly. And it was really good because he told us what was going on in Washington. And if we had any needs that need to be addressed by Congress, he would take it and then, if it was necessary, put it in a bill or take it to the House floor. And so that was a great example. And I'm taking that to heart, that the people need to be involved immediately. You see? And so that's why it's good that I didn't take this illegal money, not the illegal money, but this money that corrupts the soul and keeps you. I'm not going to be bought by anybody that, well, I would like to address your issue, but, I can't do it and my hands are tied. No, my hands are free. I'm not in the situation as my opponent. My opponent told, and this is one thing, my opponent took $1 million from Sam Bankman-Fried in 2022, of which 40 million of that was being dispersed to 40 different candidates and incumbents on the Democratic side. That was stolen money. That money, eventually, by taking that money, was embezzled by Sam Bankman-Fried, of which from FTX, which he now was sentenced to prison last year for 25 years. Jonathan Jackson got $1 million. He refused to give it back. He got that a weekend before the general election, and he put that in, half of it in a television ad, and saying that he was the godson of Martin Luther King Jr. His middle name is Luther. Now, he's doing all the shenanigans that his father did, that his brother did that went to prison, that his sister-in-law that was an alderman living in Washington, D.C. You understand the nonsense? How can you be an alderman here and you're living in Washington, D.C., you only show up on Wednesdays for the city council. His brother, Jonathan, is next in line to go to prison.
Well, that's we understand what you're saying about the others, but most
They're
important
corrupt, is what I'm
was
saying.
what you have to do to help your constituents.
But what I'm trying to make the point of is, he told constituents November 5th, 2023 at South Shore Cultural Center. And they were telling them about this illegal immigrant thing, that they're going to take our votes in 20 years. They're going to have children. They're going to outnumber us. We will be kicked to the dustbin of history, talking about the Black community. He said they're taking all our money, all our resources. This is Jonathan's response. You can look it up on YouTube. He told the Black audience, you can go to Kenilworth. You can go to Winnetka. They're rich out there. We are a sanctuary, not only a sanctuary city, we are a sanctuary state. But what he did not convey to the people is that sanctuary status is not for Black people. It's only for illegals. That's why they're getting, it's just ridiculous. They jumped the line to get resources Black people have been denied. Where did this $500 million come from for them? Where we in the Black community haven't received nothing like that. They always told us when we have needs, well, who's going to pay for that? Where's the money coming from? Well, tell us, where's the money coming from?
So at the sanctuary city money, where is that money coming from?
You tell me. A lot of it's coming from the federal government. Some of it put up by Pritzker. But the point I'm making is, where did this money come from? And I mean a lot of it. They were cleaning bathrooms. There's contracts where bathrooms were being cleaned in police stations when it first started. $17,000 a week. Workers were getting to clean bathrooms.
Well,
These type of contracts they were getting.
Yeah, we need the documentation for that. You mean you're talking about the migrants when they reside at the police station, that they were given jobs to clean the bathrooms and were given $17,000 a week?
Yes, to clean bathrooms. That's what the companies were getting a week. To clean
Are you talking
bathrooms.
about that the company that starts with an some staffing? I can't remember the exact name of that company that does the staffing.
The people, the constituents have been made fools out of during this COVID period, this illegal alien influx. The people have been made fools of. And they are doing it at our expense. Somebody's gonna have to pay for this. I mean, for real, pay for this. $7 trillion nationally, since Biden has gotten in there, has been spent on nonsense with this corrupt bringing in, flooding. Over 21 million people have been introduced in the interior of our country. There are rapists, murderers, pedophiles, thieves, gang members, and drug runners.
When you get into Congress, if you're elected, you need a coalition to help you advance your agenda.
They'll come to me, and we will amass them. Remember, having a seat gives you the power and authority that's necessary to get people to coalesce around issues such as this. So we're going to get like-minded coalitions to come together. This got to stop.
If our listeners want to learn more about Marcus Lewis, where should they go?
They go to www.marcuslewisforcongress.org, www.marcuslewisforcongress.org. My number is 708-287-7531 at this taping. There's 15 days left. I'm telling everybody to go out and vote. And my number, punch number, is 12. And I'm asking them to vote because after you vote for President Trump, there is no senator in this election cycle. So you're going from the president directly to the next race is congressional. And so we are ready to go to Washington and to take this district by storm, because just because you have a name means nothing. He has done nothing, and he's going to continue to do nothing, because that's what the Jackson family does and the Democratic Party does. But I'm not going to play people and say, oh, in 2 years, no, 4 years, no. Because then the Democratic Party doesn't do anything for Black people. They just don't do anything for Black people. They don't. And so giving your vote away and getting nothing in return after 60 years of this nonsense. Thank God for Donald Trump, but God's with him. And we do not want this person that's running against him that didn't garner not one vote in a primary to become president. That's absolutely insane. That's what they call a dictatorship, installed by the Democratic machine.
Are you saying that the Republicans don't have special interest because there's the Democratic machine, but is there a Republican machine?
There is a machine when it comes to how we're going to get America back in order. It's going to be rebuilt. It's called Make America Great Again, headed by, hopefully, President-elect Donald J. Trump and Marcus E. Lewis of the 1st Congressional District of Illinois. We are going to put a new train on the tracks that's going to be for the people, not people being backstabbers.
We understand that there are special interests in the Democratic Party. Are there any special interests in the Republican Party?
Of course there is, but this is a new day, is what I'm trying to tell you. And if we continue the old way will garner us nothing and the time would have been wasted. The people know they have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok. They've been took, they've been lied to. Donald Trump and Marcus Lewis wants to do it differently. We want the government to work on your behalf, but like John F. Kennedy say, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And people are ready to get involved, not sit back and then wait till the next election cycle for some nonsense to be told, oh, well, we got to keep him out. We don't want Trump, or we don't want McCain, or we don't want this. Or that's the only agenda the voting public on the Democratic side have been fed every single time. And abortion, I can't take that to the grocery store. I can't take this nonsense they're saying, well, Trump, he's a dictator. He won't be. Biden is a dictator. Biden said, if you didn't take that shot, he said, our patience is running thin. Well, I'm saying, who in the hell are you talking to? I'm telling you, and Fauci said, I understand Americans have rights, but do as you're told. Excuse me, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, and freedom to peacefully have redress of your grievances to your government. The Second Amendment gives you the right to bear arms, and the reason for that is to protect the First Amendment. Because Kamala Harris says that us having freedom of speech on social media is dangerous. It needs to be controlled. Hillary Clinton said the same nonsense. I'm not here to be controlled.
When did they say that? All this that you're
I'll send that to you too.
Documented.
Oh yeah, I'd love to send that. I'm gonna send that to you too. I don't say anything that I can't back up. This whole thing with the Democratic Party is to control the masses of the people, to take away our First Amendment rights, take away our Second Amendment rights, want to take away our Fourth Amendment rights, that we don't have unnecessary search and seizure. They want to put us back into slavery because the illegals don't know anything about this country. They are not assimilating. They're bringing their culture, their ways to America directly, and they're doing what they want to do. That causes chaos.
You're saying that they're being brought here to further the Democratic agenda, is what you're saying.
Yes, but while they're here, they're living as they did in the countries from whence they came. You see, if they had came through legally, they'd have been taught the Constitution. They'd have been told the ways of how America goes, how America works, how you can fit in. And then you could take the Pledge of Allegiance and saying, I am now an American after you've paid your dues and did what was legal to become an American citizen. if somebody just flings the door open, as they have, and you've seen them on media, you might not see it on CNN and MSNBC or 2579, 11, and 32, but if you go to Fox, Newsmax, OAN, you will see people just flooding in the border, okay? And these people are coming in as they are. That, you wouldn't let nobody in your home like that. Just leave your door open and say, anybody want to come in, do what you want, take what you want, you know, hey, everything free. No, we have to do things decently and in order. That's where Marcus Lewis comes in. That's where Donald J. Trump comes in. We must have
let's just have the documentation, because what you're talking about, as I walk the neighborhoods, that is not what I see. But since that
you see all these people laying around, you do. You see them laying around selling candy. You know, they're clean. I can show you real homeless. They're dirty, they're nasty, they smell like death is all over them. These illegals are well fed. Their clothes have been laundered. They're getting 3 squares a day and snacks. They're getting Social Security.
Yes, we need that documentation. Thank you so much, Marcus. Please send the documentation so that we have it as a link. So you can send it to my email.
I'll send it to your email.
Yes, all the documentation about the receipts and how they're receiving. Yes, because there's no documentation of the receipts and the amount that they're receiving, especially the favorite staffing. Paying the migrants to clean bathrooms for $17,000 a week. That would be
the company was receiving $17,000 a week. That's what I'm trying to say. And that was every bathroom in every police station. So what I'm talking about, that money was obscene. The mayor did not want to do a FOIA. He didn't want to complete the FOIA to give up that information. That's how I'm telling you this, because it was finally given. When you see these receipts where an illegal had $11,000 in SNAP, right now, look, most people, what is the top? $292? $292. Yes. That's basically the most you can get for SNAP in a month. This person has $11,500 and some change on his SNAP card at a store from a receipt here in Chicago. I'll be glad to give it to you. You can call that store and they say, yes, that's a true receipt. That's our receipt. Yes, we printed it. And if it said $11,500 in balance, that's what this person had. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, I want you to come out of your woke and become awake, because we've got a lot of work to do to clean up this country. We can't have this. But I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for the interview. I appreciate you.
Marcus Taylor, candidate for 1st Congressional District. Thank you for joining us on WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM.
Go vote.